There's a quick check just off the highway not too far from where I live. It's the only place open 24/7 in my quiet rural town. It's about a 25-minute drive if I am speeding, which I usually am. So for all you city folks, that's basically next door. My sleep schedule is terrible, so I've been there more times than I'd like to admit. I consider myself pretty average looking, someone who blends in easily, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the night shift workers recognize me. This happened just last week, so everything's still fresh in my mind. It was past midnight, and I was working on my laptop. My focus tends to peak between 9 p.m. and 3 a.m., so I was deep in that flow state that every night owl chases. The problem with late-night work is that you go from perfectly fine to starving in minutes, which is exactly why I decided to shut things down and grab a bite around 2 a.m. For context, the road to the quick check is more of a quiet local route than a highway, so traffic is almost non-existent. The drive was calm and uneventful. I pulled in, ordered a sandwich, and started pacing around while waiting. Caffeine and ADHD make standing still impossible for me. That's when I noticed something strange. At the far end of the store, facing one of the refrigerators, was a person sitting cross-legged on the floor. It was such a weird sight that I almost dismissed it, then did a double take to make sure I wasn't imagining things. I wasn't. Someone was literally sitting on the ground, staring at the fridge like they were studying it. All I could see was a brown coat and jeans. Curious, I wanted a better look at his face. I walked a few aisles over, planning to quickly glance at him, then turn away before he noticed. Staring at strangers isn't exactly polite, so I tried to make it look casual, like I was browsing snacks. Apparently, I wasn't subtle, because as soon as I turned the corner, he snapped his head around and locked eyes with me. His reaction was so sharp it startled me. For a few seconds I froze, completely forgetting what I was even doing. One look told me this guy wasn't normal. Forget the sitting on the ground part. He looked completely strung out. His eyes were unnaturally wide, and his lips trembled like he was freezing even though it was warm inside. He was wearing a jacket too, which made it even stranger. His posture was twisted and tense, like he was forcing himself to sit that way. But the worst part was his expression. He wasn't smiling or frowning, just staring blankly, with lifeless eyes that almost made him look dead. The whole thing was unnerving. After a few tense seconds, I broke eye contact and slipped up one of the aisles, just wanting to grab my food and get out. My order still wasn't ready. I waited at the counter, keeping one eye on the corner of the store where I'd seen him. I half expected him to walk out from an aisle, though I had no idea what I'd do if he did. But he never appeared. Eventually, my food was ready, and I left without looking back. I figured that was the end of it. But as I turned to get back onto the highway, I saw movement out of the corner of my eye. Someone was sprinting across the parking lot from the store's entrance. I was already halfway onto the road, but the brown coat gave him away. It was the same guy. As I drove past, I caught a glimpse of him jumping into a truck. I didn't want to know what someone like that was doing at 2 a.m. I was just glad it didn't involve me. I pressed down on the gas, eager to get home. After a few minutes, the glow of the store faded into darkness, and I was back in the middle of nowhere. I'm used to being the only car on the road that late, which is why it caught my attention when I saw headlights appear in my rearview mirror. What was even more surprising was that they were getting closer, fast. They were going faster than me, and I wasn't exactly obeying the speed limit. My first thought was that I was about to get pulled over, so I eased off the gas. But the lights kept closing in, and that's when I realized what was about to happen. I was sure police lights were about to flash, and my night was about to take a bad turn. But when the car finally got close enough, I realized it wasn't a cop. It was him. The same guy from the quick check. The same truck I'd seen in the parking lot. I've never been more certain of anything in my life. I slammed my foot on the gas and tried to put distance between us. He started flashing his headlights and honking nonstop, and I had no idea what to do. Should I try to outrun him or pull over and hope he'd pass? I was in a sedan and he was driving a pickup, so I figured my best shot was to keep speeding. But the faster I went, the more the fear grew. It was pure panic, the kind that makes you feel like death is seconds away. By the time I hit 100 miles, my instincts screamed that I'd die if I pushed it any further. I swerved into the right lane, hoping he'd speed past me, but instead he matched my move and stayed right behind me. I tried slowing down, planning to pull onto the shoulder, but the second I eased off the gas, he rammed into my car. I grabbed the steering wheel hard, trying to keep control, and it hit me. This wasn't random. The guy was trying to kill me. Everything was happening so fast that thinking clearly was impossible. I knew he'd try to ram me again, and at that speed, one hit could send me spinning off the road. I don't know if it was fear or pure instinct, but when I saw his truck veer toward me again, I suddenly swerved left and slammed on the brakes. His truck shot past mine, fishtailing wildly before spinning out and flying off the highway into a field. Even though my hands were shaking uncontrollably, I forced myself to keep driving. I didn't stop until I reached home. The moment I got inside, I called the police and told them everything. I couldn't pinpoint the exact location, but they took my statement anyway. I know that QuickCheck has security cameras outside, so I'm confident they'll identify him eventually. It's only been a week since it happened, but I haven't heard any updates yet. My car's not too badly damaged, though it still needs repairs. As for why that man came after me, I have no idea. I just hope I never see him again.